Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Around South Jersey. You think we're at the Cumberland County Commissioner's building. That's a great job that George Cuccia, our producer, does. As you see, that's on the green screen. But here live and in person is the newest Cumberland County Commissioner and one of my good friends, John Capizola. Johnny, how are you, buddy?
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
You forgot to say how good looking I am.
Well, you are.
Well, you told me that when I walked in.
Oh, this is funny. Yeah, and he is. I had Dan Dixon. We were talking about the new mayor of Millville, and Dan was on the show with me, and I was complimenting him. He said, "Jim, I can't afford any more 20s. Stop the compliments."
That's great.
But
let me say something about Dan. So
sure.
I got to see him sworn in last night, and I got to see all the other Millville commissioners. And I'm excited because I feel like there's a lot of communication going on. And that's a great thing for our community because in Cumberland County, we have a lot of work to do. And we've noticed, I've been knocking on a lot of doors for a couple of years. I'm not afraid I lost a couple elections. And you know what? I kept getting back on my horse because I kept moving forward and I was having great conversations with people. And I was learning that people want to move forward. We just we didn't have the people at the time to do that.
Yeah.
You have to, you have to have some gum. You have to push yourself. And sometimes you're going to piss some people off, unfortunately. Yeah. But I don't want to do that, but you have to do that. We have a lot of work to do, and I feel like this county can do some great things.
Well, I got to tell you, when I first met Johnny, he was bartending at Eastland.
I still bartend.
I know you do.
I still bartend.
But the point I'm trying to get is he's got a great personality. I mean, I enjoy talking to him. I'm not a real big drinker, but I get a diet soda and we talk, and it was just really nice. And I mean, that's in fact before before Johnny and I went on the air today, I was asking about his cousin Pete.
Yep.
Everybody loves Petey Cap. Don't they? Everybody. Petey's with Newfield Bank and just very charismatic. But this guy's got a good personality too. And the other thing we talked about, in my opinion, besides John's great personality and things like that, I was telling him many of my friends who have run were teachers. John, tell everybody what you do.
So I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher for this is my 25th year teaching.
Oh
I can't
God,
believe to say that out loud.
10?
I know. Can you believe it? I'm 30 years old and I'm
I
25 years in. But I started right out of college. I graduated high school 17 years old. So I was young graduating college. I was 22 years old. And I jumped right in. I graduated in December. The year I graduated, I had to go a little bit farther for student teaching, but I jumped right in at Vineland High. I started over there, and they didn't have a position the next year because I was filling in for someone. It was kind of like a long-term substitute job, but I moved over to Atlantic City for a few years. I missed being in town.
Yeah.
I was starting a family at that time. I was about to get married, and I wanted to get back here in Vineland. And Mary Gruccio at the time
I love
was my
Mary
principal.
Gruccio.
Yep.
Is she not the best?
So my mom talks to everybody when she goes shopping in ShopRite and saw Mary Gruccio, and Mary said, I have a health and phys ed teaching position opening up at Max Leuchter Elementary School in Vineland. And I started over there many years ago, and I enjoyed it over there. I learned a lot from Mary, and maybe that's why I became a commissioner. I did talk to her a lot about that. She was a commissioner at that time.
She was a Republican too.
Yeah,
Super person.
Definitely. And
everybody, Joe Pepitone everybody worked with you. You have to love her.
Everybody
She's
loved
sweet,
Mary.
And
I had a great time. She was a great principal because she let you be who you are. I could tell so many great stories. We'll do that on the next interview. But I spent some time over there with her, and I've moved over to a couple schools. I mainly did elementary school. And a couple last year, I made the move to middle school. So now I'm teaching middle school health and phys ed because my ultimate goal is to be an administrator. And I felt like I was in elementary too long, and I was getting too boxed in that area. So I needed to expand. But so anybody out there that's hiring a vice principal job, keep an eye out for me or let me know because I'm ready.
To our buddy in Millville.
Yeah. What
have you met him?
You're talking about Matt?
Yeah, Matt.
I've known Matt since we were kids, so I've had some conversation with him. Yeah.
Yeah. What a great guy.
Yep. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Now, where did you went to Vineland High? Right?
I did. I went to Vineland High. Graduated in 1996.
Okay. And then did you go to Glassboro?
I went to right out of high school because I was young.
Right.
I went to I started off at Cumberland County College,
sure. Yeah.
and I spent some time there, and I went off to the University of Delaware.
Okay.
And I ended up at the University of Delaware.
Graduated from the University of
amazing
Delaware.
college. I ended up there because my girlfriend at the time, and there's a connection with you here, and I'll tell you how that is in a minute. My girlfriend at the time, her family opened up had a pizzeria that they were opening in Vineland. called Pizza Bella. So I don't know if you've ever.
Oh, I do.
Yes.
In fact, I brought them to Millville.
You
I
did.
stole
So
them
that's
away from Vineland.
yep. So
In
you
fact,
did. You stole us away from
I
Vineland.
just saw. It must have been at your event we went to. I saw the fella.
My brother-in-law, the cook. You saw that?
Yeah, he
That's
came
my
up to me
brother-in-law,
and
Michael.
introduced himself and said,
Yeah.
"Oh, Michael, my God!" In fact, it was my daughter was just saying, "Oh man, I wish Pizza Bella were back."
Yeah.
And unfortunately, your aunt passed away.
Yes, yeah, that was my mother-in-law that passed away.
Okay, I
yeah,
gotcha.
that was his
Yeah.
mother. But yeah, so they opened up Pizza Bella at that time, and that's how the connection was. Like he said, he moved us over to Millville,
Yeah.
and I want to tell you, we need to get back to that. You cut all the red tape. And we were planning on building another restaurant because we had a small place at Pizza Bella,
right.
and we were looking to expand to get a bigger place. And you were coming in as a customer,
I love
and
the
you
place.
talked us into Millville, and I was against it. I was like, because at the time I was young, I was in my late 20s, I didn't know any better. But my mother-in-law Rosemary was adamant about, you don't understand. Jim is a great guy. He's going to help us out. He's going to really do what it takes to make us a successful business. You brought so many customers in, and what an amazing success that restaurant was. So I want to thank you.
You're welcome.
Unfortunately, my mother died after a car accident. She died a few months later. I don't even know how many years ago. It was like 11 or 12 years ago now. It's been a while. But I own the laundromat. I don't know if you remember this or
yeah,
not.
sure do.
Next door to
Right.
that, it was
Okay.
Parkside Laundromat.
Yes, right. Yeah.
And we owned the whole complex at the time.
Right.
And unfortunately, after she passed away, that mortgage, we had to give it up because it was a little expensive to
sure.
keep going without her there. She was the heart and soul of that place.
We-
Heart and soul.
Oh, she was just amazing.
Surely was.
The food was fabulous, and
I
she
miss
was a
it, man.
sweetheart.
Maybe that's why I've lost some weight.
Yeah,
We don't have that
I
anymore.
noticed you really look good. And this is a funny story. Out to Pizza Bella on East Main Street,
Yep.
right near Wade Boulevard. I was in one night, and Jeff Trout's there, Mike Trout's there, his brother and his sister,
Teal,
right, and his mom. So I'm looking, and I knew this is a good story too. When Jeff got elected to Millville City Commission, I was the mayor my first year in '97. Jeff was could have been a vice mayor. He finished second, but he took public safety. But anyway, Mikey was 5 years old. So Mike comes up to me at the end of the meeting, and he goes, "Mr. Mayor, when I get to be a big man, I want to be the mayor too." And now when I see him, he goes, "No way, Jim. No, I don't want that at all." But what I was going to say was, at your mother-in-law's place, I'm sitting there, and Mikey and Teal and Tyler, Teal, Tyler, and Mikey were there, and Mikey had gotten bigger than Tyler, and I thought I mixed them up, and Jeff says, "No, this is Tyler. Mike's gotten bigger. This is Mike."
He's humongous. So actually, I'm on my phone right now because I'm looking for a picture of Mike when he was a senior in high school. He would come into the pizzeria, and his sister worked there. And when he would walk in, by the time he was a senior, people were already asking for his autograph and taking pictures with him. Yeah. I mean, you knew it. But I have a really funny story about that too. So at the time, I was young, and I was helping my my mother-in-law out, and Teal, his sister, Mike Trout's sister, Teal, she was working in the restaurant.
That's right.
And she knew I was a huge baseball fan, and I played baseball even as I got older. I should have stopped earlier because I tore my shoulder apart. But so she was a big baseball fan, and she said, "You have to come out and watch my brother play." And at this time, he's probably like a freshman in high school, sophomore in high school, whatever, however old he was. She's like, "Yeah, he has all these scouts looking at him, this team and that team." And I'm like, "Teal, come on, what are you talking about? He's only a freshman in high school. There's no professional teams checking him out." And I put my foot in my mouth because he ended up being Mike Trout. But it's an awesome thing to have, somebody from somebody local that's doing such amazing things.
And speaking of Trouts, as I had started to say earlier, I've found, especially in Millville, that we had and Mike or Jeff was teaching and coaching, and Jeff, this was comical because I encouraged Jeff to run. And at that point, I wasn't going to run.
Okay.
So I called Jeff, and I said, "Jeff, I've decided I'm going to run." He goes, "U-S-B-U?" I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "You're going to beat me." I said, "Jeff, you and I are going to finish 1 and 2," and we did. I
Oh, that's
first,
awesome.
He finished second.
What year is that around?
1997.
Okay, 97. Yeah. Oh, wow. So I was in college at that time.
The neat thing was, he was an educator. He was a coach. Joe Durella, educator, coach.
Yep.
Ed Salmon, educator, coach. I mean, that's why I thought John had a really good shot of winning, because you got all those kids. You've had hundreds and hundreds of kids.
I'll let you
right?
take a look at that.
Oh,
So
my
the picture
God,
I'm
that
showing
is
him right now
fabulous.
on my phone is a picture of our pizza man Sal. So if you're ever
I
in
remember
Serafines,
Sal,
you remember
yeah.
Sal, my mother-in-law Rosemary, and the great Mike Trout. And he signed it for us another time when he came in there. We'll put it up to the screen one time. But it's a great picture. I love showing people.
It is. It's fantastic. In fact, this was interesting. A friend of mine was living in Anaheim, so he invited me to come out and stay with him for a week. And I went out and went to Mike's games.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I still have in my sock drawer Mike Trout socks. That was the giveaway, the one that
that's
was there.
cool.
It was really cool. But I said to the vendor, the lady where they were selling all the paraphernalia, sports goods and stuff, I said, what's the percentage of Mike Trout stuff you sell compared to everybody else? She said, he's 90%.
Wow.
But he was, as still is, very, very popular. This is another neat story as we're talking about Mike Trout, and this helped the city, and it really worked out well. When I was mayor, or was right by last year, maybe as mayor, Mike came into to Citizens Bank Park for his first time, coming in as an angel. So
I remember that game.
I was able to sell 5,000 tickets.
Wow.
With help
And you brought a
from
whole
people.
bunch of buses up there?
Yes,
I remember
yeah,
this.
Exactly.
I remember this.
Well, and what was nice, John, was that the Phillies gave us $8 a ticket.
Oh, that's great.
So we got $40,000. I gave some to Levoy, some to Noble, the Arts District, and
that's
stuff
great.
like that, which was fabulous. And then my benefit from it, I didn't know this was going to happen, but Dave Montgomery was president at the time, and he called me up. He said, Jim, thank you for all the work you did and getting him in here. And he said, I want to treat me, he was treating me and three of my buddies, to the Eagles game in the Philly suite. So I got to sit with two Phillies players. That was really cool. And then the other thing, I don't know if you've ever met Dan Baker. It's a PA announcer. Well, Dan and I went to
actually
college
met him when I was bartending one time.
Oh, okay.
I have a video of him on my phone doing an announce from like the Phillies.
Yeah.
Ryan Howard, Chase Utley. It's really cool.
Well,
He was
Dan
at a wedding.
Dan and I are good friends, and we graduated from college same time. And anyway, Dan had said to me, he said, Jim, I have never, he's done 50 years now, but in the 45 years or whatever he had been PA announcer, he said, I had never, ever had a visiting player come in and get a standing ovation for more than 5 minutes. You know, because of course
I would have loved to have been there. Wow,
yeah,
that
was
fun.
really cool. But that was something that was worked.
I remember the cameras that kept panning over to everybody in that whole section, the Millville section.
Yeah, we had from first to third base in the 400 section, and I reserved all those seats.
That's fun.
It did. It worked out, and people had a good time.
That's awesome.
Anyway, we're talking to one of my favorite county commissioners, Johnny Capizola. We'll be back with more with John right after these messages.
Many people treat their health like a game. With Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Just select from our specialties and schedule online, by phone, or on our app. Our entire team communicates with one another, so everyone works together on your total health. Plus, we make it even easier with all of these additional benefits. Level up your health with us. Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great health care for everyone.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. With more than 41 years of service to our valued customers, Advanced Treads in Norman, New Jersey is South Jersey's full-service distributor of General Tires. We feature a complete line of passenger vehicle tires, light truck, farm, and commercial tires. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tires, anywhere is possible. Advanced Treads, 1325 West Landis Avenue in Norman, New Jersey. Call them today at 856-696-5004. When you need tires, there is only one name you can trust. Advanced Treads of Norman, New Jersey.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
Welcome back to Around South Jersey. My special guest is Johnny Capizola, who is the newest, along with that beautiful lady that is with him, Mrs. Balicki.
Yep.
They both of you ran together and were successful. And I'll tell you what, folks, I'm taking some credit. Well, he did a super job with the commercial. He really did. John was telling me before we went on the air he didn't feel good or anything else.
The day before the commercial, I wasn't feeling good. So that night before, I hadn't slept. I worked all day. I'd come in here. I felt horrible. So if it came out good, that's a good thing. But I didn't feel good. I remember that.
And I was telling, Rick Dawson.
Yep.
It's the first time the Cumberland County Democratic Organization had advertised with me.
Yeah.
And what's neat was it was Millville High School football. Well, we have about 20,000 viewers on YouTube for Millville High School football. The one year we had 250,000 views for the 12 games that we did, about 20,000 per
great.
game. Yeah, and it is. And it's interesting, all these years I've run the local channel, I can't tell you how many people are watching. We don't have a Nielsen rating, so
Right.
we don't have any way of knowing. But now with YouTube, it's like, holy cow. In fact, I think George was telling me just the other day we did a Millville Public Schools. We talked about, the superintendent.
Yep. Oh, yep.
And he does a nice job with his Millville Public School
Yep.
show that he does. And it was Bacon School. We had like 4,000 or 5,000 people just for Bacon School.
Oh, that's great.
It is. It really is neat. And what's nice too is they can message you, and you can read their Facebook
So
messages.
talking about that, a lot of when I'm walking around with the community, one of the things we're hearing the most over the past couple of years that I'm hearing is no one knows where to get information anymore.
Yeah.
So, me coming in here tonight, people are seeing my face maybe for the first time and, they're hearing what I'm all about. But we don't have a local newspaper anymore.
No.
So people are looking for a place to get information on a consistent basis. And it's something that I talked about, with the new mayor Millville.
Yes.
And it's something that I'm going to bring up at a commissioner's board. I know something the city of Vineland does that I think is an amazing idea that I've told Mr. Finucci is that they have a Vineland app. And I know you live in Millville, so I don't know if you're aware of it or not. But it just gives little notices. Maybe if they're skipping a trash day or there's an event for the city,
smart. Yeah.
it's just an app. It's on your phone. You get notifications, and some of the
That's
times
smart.
it's something
Yeah.
that doesn't pertain to me, but I still feel like I'm getting information.
Yeah.
So we got to talk about that.
It's interesting. Newell Brandon, who lost the city commission election, super guy. I don't know which Millville First or whatever the group's called, but he does similar things. But I like your idea of just having a Millville app where, boom, it pops up.
And then you turn your notifications on, and whoever's in charge of putting that information in, if it's something that's important, you send it off as a notification.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
I will say this is an interesting story, Johnny, and it's because of me. You've got a big salary over there. I got to tell you this.
I'm rich.
What happens is, I was part of the Democratic Party then, so we were majority, and nobody covered us. And to the Republicans' credit, they hired Quinn Broadcasting to do all the meetings live.
That's good.
So now John, comes back to what I said about YouTube. Yeah, they're live, but boom, right away you can go to YouTube and see it.
Yes.
You can go to Facebook and see it. And so, the lady gets up and complains all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Anyway, she's always there complaining about everything and all.
Not complaining. She's a concerned citizen.
Yes, right, yeah. She has no life. That's her life. Every meeting she goes to. That's not a bad person. But what ended up happening was I'd been a freeholder in 1982, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 90 and 91. And then I lost in the Florio backlash in 91.
Mm-hmm.
And but what I was saying was when I first got to be the freeholder director, the salary was $8,000,
wow.
which was crazy. So I got it up to 15.
Mm-hmm.
So then that was back in the late 80s, I guess. So I'm sitting there and I'm talking to my buddies who are on other freeholder boards throughout the county and stuff, and we're the lowest again.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought it up and convinced my colleagues. In fact, I think even Joey Spracio, who I loved, was on with me. And we all unanimously supported taking it up to 22.
Yeah.
And that's certainly okay. That's decent. But what was funny was, what's her first name? The woman. Anyway.
Right now?
The one that gets up and goes to all the meetings. Anyway, I would think about it, yeah.
There's a couple. But
it was cute because what happens is there was no newspaper, there was no radio, there was no TV, there was nothing except us there. So it got put into the records, but there was nobody looking at the records. So nobody knew the salary plan went through. And she had a good point. So that's not fair. But again, let me tell you, talking about newspapers and radio, it's just unbelievable. They are struggling to stay alive.
I know.
The radio station's values have dropped like crazy.
It's a different world.
And what I'm doing here is not easy, getting the sponsors. Thank God for the relationship sponsors I have, and some really good people like Rich Allen. He'll contribute to putting on the Millville Public Schools or the Buna Meeting and things like that. But the County of Cumberland does give us a contract, and we do the meetings for you guys, and it's worked out. So at least people can see and know what's going on. And like, if you don't catch the meeting live, go to Quinn Broadcasting YouTube page. You can watch any meeting you want. And I think, George, we put it on their website too, right? Yeah, we put it on the county website.
Like I have a 17-year-old son, and when we grew up, there was when I was a kid, there was 12 channels, 13 channels. I was the one that laid on the floor, and I was the one that in charge of turning the knob. And then I remember the box that was connected to the TV. That's when there was like 14.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where there was a million channels.
Yeah, exactly.
But my son at 17 years old, I don't think he's ever watched regular TV. He doesn't sit there with the remote like we did. Yeah. Scrolling through the channels, they are on the internet, and it's a different world.
Everything's streaming.
So we have to find a way to connect, definitely with younger people, and with older people and everyone in between. We have to find a way to communicate, because transparency and letting everybody know what's going on is hugely important.
Yeah, it really. Well, and again, let me say this to, I think it's Rich Allen's credit. There is a county program that's supposed to be on once a month, so you guys can rotate. And I had a hard time. Jimmy Sorrow came in. Joe Condo would come in to represent them, and Sandy Taylor came in. Oh, you know who else was really good? The person you beat, Tori Loads.
Yeah, Tori's a great person.
She is. So she would come over and do a super job, and so we have that.
Doug, I'm surprised Doug Albrecht didn't come over. No.
Well, if he came over, I'd have to have the 20-hour channel. I got to tell you, this is a God's honest truth. People love Doug.
Listen, Doug talked a lot, but I'm going to tell you right now.
A lot? Get out of here. My last meeting as a county freeholder, right, Commissioner?
Yeah.
3 hours and 30 minutes. Doug talked for 3 hours. I swear to you, he doesn't shut up.
Wow.
Honest to God, I'll never forget that. I said, thank you, Lord, I'm done. This is my last meeting. I went back to Millville.
That was the hard part about this race, because I respected both of them. When I was on the board and I stepped in for George Castellini a couple of years ago, I got to be on the board with both of them. Yeah. And they're two great people, and they both care about this county.
They do. No
and
question,
Doug, I mean, when it came to the broadband initiative that we got passed, he was the fourth vote. He joined the Democrats to get that passed. Now, I know we ended up losing it after I left the board, but he really did. He did what was right for the county, and that's important. So I appreciate everything Doug did for the county.
Loved it.
And I'm sure we'll see him again in some form or fashion.
Probably. Well, I tell you, speaking of that, it was a really close election, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah. I don't remember what the final numbers were, but I won by. It's close. Yeah. That's why every door that we knock on, every person that we meet at an event, every person that I run into and I ask for their vote, I don't take it for granted. I kept getting, the day of the election, I kept getting phone calls, because we go to over there, BME, Bob Morgan's place on Delsey Drive. Right. Yep. And the past couple years before this year, I had a little PTSD going there, at losing these elections. You see the votes start coming out, and, it hurts when you've put so much work in and you lose. And then this year, I said, I'm going to do something different. I usually stay in Vineland, and I hang out near the shopping centers and just remind people, like, this is it. There's 2 hours left. Did you vote yet? Did you vote yet? And this year I went into Bridgeton, and I.
That's where the key was.
Yep. And I got probably. The last couple hours, I know I got at least 10 or 15 people that hadn't voted yet to go vote. And I appreciate that. Every vote that I did receive, I really don't take it for granted. And if you didn't vote for me, I'm still going to work for everyone. Sure. I have a lot of friends and family. Some of my best friends in this world, we have a text group, and there's only 2 Democrats, and there's probably 8 Republicans on there. And we go at each other like cats and dogs. But what I've noticed over the years is we all want the same things. We want safe streets. Yeah. We want to make sure that our kids have nice schools to go to. We all want the same things. We might not believe on getting there the same way, and we might have different strategies on how to get there, but we want the same things in our community. And I'm excited about this opportunity. Really am.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. As I said to you, the years that I served on the Freeholder Board, this is a sort of funny story. I was a rookie. I had no idea. They talked me into running in 1981 or Freeholder. So I said, yeah, okay. So I'm out, and my 2 running mates were Gary Zimmerman and John Renard, and they had both been there. Everybody loved Gary, and John was a professor. Everybody liked him. So they really didn't campaign much, but then again, they didn't need to. So I'm out pretty much campaigning by myself. Well, this was Chuck Fisher was the Freeholder director those years, and there was a restaurant in Bridgeton. Anyway, we had lunch there about a week before the election. So we're sitting around the table. Ed Salmon's running for assembly, and Gary Zimmerman, John Renard for Freeholder, George Castellini for sheriff, and all. So Chuck goes around the room. He goes, Ed, you're a winner. Gary, you're a winner. John, you're a winner. Sheriff, you're a winner. And Quinn, you can't win. And I'm like, I was dumb enough to think I could win, right?
Right.
I said, really? So he felt bad for me. So on the way out, he puts his hand on my shoulder. He says, look, don't worry about it. You're not going to win. By the way, the person I was running against was Harry Freitag, and he was the only Republican on the board.
Wow.
And I loved Harry. I voted for Harry all the time myself. So I realized he was telling me the truth. But where they lied to me was Chuck said to me, don't worry. In November, John Rose is going to retire. We're going to appoint you to his position, and you'll run next year. I thought, gee, this is great.
This is perfect.
Yeah, except I found out they lied. Those Democrats lied to me, and they did, really.
And a politician lied to you?
Yeah. And the one guy behind it was like supposed to be a friend of mine, but he didn't want me because I was from Millville and he was from Millville. He wanted Laura Pageant from Bridgeton. Right. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to show you guys. Nobody spoke to me at the Democratic Party. Nobody called me and all that stuff. I fought the party, and I won.
Wow.
I won. I went to Jimmy Parent's office. He's the election person, and I went through every single voter registration book, and I looked for those voters that voted in Democrats in the primary.
Okay.
And I put next to their name a couple of X. I called every single one of them, and I won by several hundred votes.
Wow.
So I was able to earn my way in. They didn't give it to me. I earned
That's
my way
awesome.
in 1982, and we won big in 82, one of the biggest elections.
And I know exactly how you feel, because I felt like I earned this election.
You
My
sure
wife
did.
and my son were like, you're really doing this again? And I didn't have plans on doing it. When you lose 2 years in a row, it hurt. You feel like, do people really want me there? Maybe the community's moving in a different direction. You start second guessing yourself.
Nah, it's all
but then
timing.
that wears off after a little while, and then you get back on your horse. And that's my favorite part. My favorite part is going to a community and staying there for a couple days and really getting to see everybody, knocking on doors.
Yeah.
And they
Well,
hear
you're a people person.
Yep,
You
they
enjoy
hear that you're
people.
there. Oh,
Yeah.
I heard that you were at my neighbor's house the other day, and I try to do that when I go to an area. I try to spend a couple days there, and I try to I try to get to everywhere. And that's a question I got a lot this year was, man, I've seen your signs everywhere.
Yeah.
And I use a little bit a different strategy. I always listen. I'd listened to other people in the past, but I used my own strategy this year. I got my signs a lot earlier, and as I would walk and I would knock on doors, I carried my signs with me. Yeah. So everybody was like, I see your signs everywhere. Well, what I did was I was marking everywhere that I had knocked on doors.
Oh, okay.
So you knew where I was by seeing my signs
that's
everywhere.
cool.
So and it was great.
Yeah, well, you had mine. Your sign in my
Yeah,
front door.
I sure did.
In fact, we
I
talked
sure
about
did.
my
We were just talking about your neighborhood. What a
as
beautiful neighborhood that is in
Yeah,
Millville.
it really is. It's Union Lake area,
Yep.
and it's very, very nice. And in fact, the mayor, Dan Dixon, lives at the other end of my street, and yet we didn't really know each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a cute story to tell you. Dan had a little puppy, and my son and daughter-in-law lived right across the street from Dan. Unfortunately, they've got divorced and they're not in the area. But one day, my daughter-in-law found this little puppy, brought it in the house. The little puppy's playing with our dog, and she had a video of it. And she got a hold of him, and he was so happy. He said, "Oh my God, your family saved my dog." And what a nice man. I really have enjoyed talking to him and working with him. And, he just has, well, you do too. I mean, he's got a great personality. He loves people, and John, he was telling me his first job at 20 years old, selling vacuum cleaners.
Really?
Yeah.
You definitely learn how to talk to people trying to get them to buy vacuum cleaners.
And they said the worst job was they took him off that job and had him try to sell people to come and sell vacuum cleaners. So he was trying to get people to sell them.
That's great.
As salespeople. Anyway, when we come back, this guy's got some power, some pull. I was really impressed, and we'll show you why, because we're going to show you his swearing-in ceremony after these messages.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
A good roof is easy to forget. So why not keep it that way? Why not say no thank you to that $10,000 quote on a new roof? And why not help the planet while you're at it? With Peak 301, you can keep a good roof going or give an old roof a new beginning. The application starts at the surface to defend against everyday damage. But the science doesn't stop there. It works its way through every single part of every single shingle to reactivate the most basic building blocks. And unlike other treatments, Peak 301 actually corrects the chemistry that causes decay. The result? A carefully crafted, all-natural, planet, people, pet-friendly reset for your roof. So you can forget about it again. Call your Peak 301 Southern New Jersey certified applicator, Rejuvenated Roofs today for a free estimate at 856-326-0047.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
Many people treat their health like a game. With the Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Our mental health services focus on the emotions and behaviors that affect your overall well-being and features psychiatric, counseling, and addiction services, including our exclusive Fresh Start program, designed to help combat the opioid epidemic in our communities, plus all the other specialties you expect from Complete Care. Level up your health with us. The Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great healthcare for everyone.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Welcome back to Around South Jersey. My special guest is newly elected County Commissioner John Capizola. And are we ready, George, to show that? I'm telling you what, this guy's got the pool.
That's right.
Watch this.
It's all me.
Okay. So raise your right hand and please repeat after me. I, John P. Capizola Jr.,
I, John P. Capizola Jr.,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
and the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of County Commissioner
of the office of County Commissioner
for the County of Cumberland
for the County of Cumberland
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
And that was. Tell everybody who that was.
I don't know. I didn't recognize her. But that's our new governor-elect, Mikey Sherrill. And I was honored when I found out that she was able to come down and swear us in. We're the only commissioners in South Jersey that she's going to be swearing in. I know she's doing a couple up in North Jersey, closer to where she is. But we were honored. It was a big deal. We took out 2 incumbents, and they were 2 quality people.
Yeah, they were.
And, a lot of people didn't have us winning, both of us winning. Maybe one of us, and it could have went either way. But when it is that close, it can go either way. It's why it is important to vote. And people don't realize how much your local politicians, your local people touch your lives. We're making decisions on the money that the money you're paying for taxes, and it's your school system, your trash pickup, it's all that stuff. All your local people are really making everyday decisions, where the national people, it's not touching you as much.
No, that's a good point. No, it really is. And Mikey was a helicopter pilot.
Yes.
And she went Navy, I guess. She went to Annapolis, I believe. But, she did. And, God bless her. I'm happy that she was able to win. Jack Chittarelli, is that was the guy? He was popular down this way.
He was, but I don't know so much in North Jersey. I mean, he was really popular down here.
Yeah.
At Eastland, I'd see him at a lot of events over there. And, he used to bring in a big crowd, but I don't think it was as much North Jersey.
Yeah, and it is tough. I mean, North Jersey's still pretty blue, pretty Democratic for sure, as it turns out. But, it was interesting. Somebody, and maybe it was Rick Dawson, was telling me, when you think about it, Cumberland County has thousands more Democrats than they do Republicans. But I got to tell you truthfully, when I ran for Millville City Commission 4 years ago, and we went door to door, my running mates and I, and we'd bang on doors. The people were Democrats, and they never voted. No. They did not vote. So that really made it tough. I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, I finished in the top 5. But when I saw one of the other guys that finished in the top 5, I said, no way in hell, I'm not going to go serve. Because I got out of the city to go to the county to get away from this guy. And then it's like, no, thank you.
It's frustrating when you go, you go to certain areas and certain communities in our county, and that, you can make a difference. But, on election day when you're out there and you see people not going and voting, and, it's frustrating. But,
Yeah, well,
there's reasons. People aren't voting for a reason, and we need to find that out. And that's a problem. Why aren't they voting? And a lot of people don't think that we can make a difference in their lives. And sometimes we haven't done what we need to do to help them out. So people feel like it's not worth it, and we have to show them that it is worth it, because it does make a difference in their lives.
Yeah, it really
I haven't missed an election. I don't think I've missed an election or a primary. Maybe a primary when I was in college, but I haven't missed an election since I turned 18. I was so proud to vote, and it's my civic duty, and I feel like that I'm going to exercise that. And if you don't have a chance to go out and vote on election day, I implore all of you to do a mail-in ballot. My family sits down at the kitchen table. We get our mail-in ballots. You're not going to know every person. You're not going to know every school board member. Yeah. But when you have a mail-in ballot, you can sit down at the table. You can look at somebody, because we don't have newspapers anymore. And you might not have seen it.
Yeah.
You can go on Facebook. Does this person have a video explaining who they are and what they're all about? And that's what we do. We go through them, and if a person doesn't have any way to know anything about them, we're obviously not going to vote for them.
Yeah.
But if they're out there, it's a good opportunity. So do a mail-in ballot. It's easy. Throw it in your mailbox, and you get it in there.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I've liked a lot is you can early early voting.
Early voting, yep.
So I go to the Women's Club in Millville,
Yeah.
Maybe on a Sunday or whatever, and go vote. And there's no big line, and I'm able to get it done, and don't have to worry about getting there on election day itself.
Yeah.
So,
The early voting numbers this year were a lot better than they were last year. I remember going and, I would always go check how many people voted today. And, unfortunately, you go to Vineland and you hear, this was last year, not this past election, and 12 people voted today. And you're like, is it worth it to have this early voting? But this year the numbers were up significantly. So hopefully it's catching on. And again, you don't have to go on election day. You have, it's about a week before.
Exactly.
You can go on the weekend, and it's open
Yeah.
all the way to 8 o'clock at night. Get out
Yeah.
there and vote.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
too important.
It is, because, if you want to have some input, at least vote,
Yes.
and get out and exercise your right to vote.
And that's how I got into politics. Instead of complaining, I feel like do something about it. And that's, been the story of my life. My wife always tells me, you are a problem solver. You are so good at finding solutions. And that's what I'm going to bring, to here. And that's what I bring it every day as a teacher. There's always problems, things going on. You have to figure out solutions. You got to think quick on your feet, and you got to figure out, what can I do to fix this problem? And I hope I can do that for the county. I really do.
Yeah, I'm sure you can, John, because, knowing this guy, you got to like him. Everybody likes Johnny. And
Not everybody.
Well, most people.
I can tell you some people that
Yeah,
definitely don't
I
like
have
it.
some.
And it's okay.
People.
I'm
In
all
fact,
right.
Tori Lowe.
I sleep well at night.
Who I loved a lot. Tori's super, and it was one that John beat.
Yep.
But one day she was on, we were doing the show. She goes, Jim, everybody likes you. I said, no, there's a guy in Millville that doesn't. And I, can tell you that. And believe me. But generally, I think when you go through all the years I've spent, 35 years in government, you're bound to run into some, that are.
Somebody gave it to me last night. I went to the swearing in, like I said earlier, the Millville Commissioners Board and the new mayor. And as soon as I walked in, somebody came up and gave it to me because they didn't like what we did at the first meeting. And what we're letting them know, we're letting everyone know, not just the other commissioners, is that there's two new sheriffs in town, and we're
one's
going to
Austino and the other's
but we're gonna expect communication from everyone, and if we don't get that, there's actions that are going to happen, and we don't want to. We want everything to work together. I like working with people.
Yeah.
I don't like conflict, but I'm also not afraid of conflict.
Yeah.
So
That should be interesting.
we'll figure it out.
Right?
Yeah.
Be a good time.
It will be. And you could. I implore anybody, talk to the commissioners that I was on the board with 2 years ago when I stepped in, and you ask them if I can work with people.
Yeah.
I felt like I was the bridge where before I got there, the Democrats that were already on the board, they might have been a little jaded because they've worked with these people, and I felt like I was the bridge, and people were communicating. At that time, the social services contract was way overdue, and these people were working without a contract for a long time. And I was like, and I knew a lot of people that worked there. You when you're a teacher, some of the parents, they hear your commissioner, I work in social services, and you start hearing about how this is affecting their lives. And I said, you know what? I am going to do everything I can. I wasn't on that committee or anything like that, but I pushed on a daily basis. What are we doing to get that contract done? What's the sticking points? And I remember one of the sticking points was ridiculous. And I was like, we need to make that concession. And I remember saying it in a closed door meeting. Can we all decide right now that we are okay with this one thing to push this contract over? And believe it or not, that was the last thing. The next week, the contract got done. And I'm not saying I had anything to do with getting the whole contract negotiated, but sometimes people need to be pushed. Yeah. And that reminds me of another thing that was driving me crazy when I got on the board last time. And I can't wait to, when we have our first meeting, I could not believe how much money this county was throwing away on a monthly basis to attorneys for cases that have been going on for 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, people that are suing. And I started asking questions like, let's do the math. If these people are suing for this amount and we keep paying this much every month, why didn't we just settle this 5 years ago?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that. Don't think that everybody's going to sue and we're going to settle. But those cases that were really old and it didn't make sense anymore, we needed to move forward. But that's what we're not going to do. We're not going to waste money. We need to start investing in this community. We need to start investing in our kids. We need to start taking care of our homeless. We need to make sure that we're doing infrastructure projects, because after walking around this community, it needs a lot of work. There's too many buildings that are empty that we could be doing some other things with. We could have community centers. We could have different things. Maybe drug treatment centers. There's a big fentanyl crisis going on. Drug crisis going on in our country, and we need to do something about that. And I can't wait to get to work. Another thing, I just got a call from an old Vineland, not commissioner, Vineland council member, Ron Franceschini.
Oh, I love Ronnie.
Ron is the best, and actually, I have a lot of mentors. You're a mentor, and I any questions I have, or if I'm not doing a good job, please call me and let me know, and read me out. But Ron, I talked to because the last time I was on the board, I want to do something. We have AEDs everywhere, that shocks people's hearts if you don't know what an AED is. And I'm actually teaching that right now in my 6th grade health classes. We're doing first aid and emergency care. And I was teaching them, I was walking them around the building, and I was showing them where all the AEDs were. And we took one out, we opened it up, and I showed them how it works. And when we talk about the drug crisis and the fentanyl crisis, the Narcan that saves people's lives, I want to try to find a way to get a Narcan attached or connected to all these AEDs.
Makes sense.
I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know if it's viable because it's medication, but it's something that I want to look into, and I know Ron wants to help me do that, and we'll see what happens. Because now, if you don't know if I'm at my school and a parent is in their car and they're overdosing, I know now that I can go run into that cafeteria and grab something out and give them a shot of Narcan and hopefully save their life.
Yeah.
I've had a family member that struggled with two cousins that struggled with a drug addiction. One passed away, sadly, of an overdose, and the other one, the complications of his drug abuse. So it hits home, and it hits. I feel like it hits everybody right now. I don't think there's any family in this country where drugs or alcohol hasn't hit in some way.
John, I volunteered for the homeless here in Millville, and one night I was sitting there. I guess my shift was 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. I'm a night owl anyway. In fact, I guess you knew that.
Oh, I'm a night owl.
I get the 10. Are you also?
Oh, man.
Well, this was sad. I was talking to this young man, probably in his mid-20s, named Travis. Really nice guy, and sharp, and we're talking, and I said, Travis, why are you homeless? He said, Mr. Quinn, I'm a drug addict.
Yeah.
6 months later, he overdosed.
Wow.
Died.
That's horrible.
That is. But I'll tell you what, I would never be able to be a good Republican because I don't believe in guns. And I tell this story that when I was the mayor, a young man got killed on Mulberry Street between 3rd and 4th or whatever. And one of the ministers asked me if I would come out with a candlelight vigil in his honor. I said, sure. I went out, extended my condolences to his mom and his sister, and there were about 50 people in the street. And I said the following: I strongly believe anyone possessing an illegal gun should do 3 to 5 years in prison.
Man,
Johnny, I come off the steps, the porch. One of the Millville cops that I was friendly with, Junior, comes over to me and goes, Mayor, half the people you just said that to right now are packing. Oh my God. He said, no, I'm serious. Wow. And then I said the same thing at school, and a big kid that lived in the neighborhood put his hand up. He said, hey, Mayor, you live where I live. You want to have a gun. So anyway, speaking of having guns, here's my building. Next door.
You told me this story.
I
couldn't believe it.
My daughter's in the building. Boom, 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 boom. They killed it. 3 guys killed another guy at High and Oak on 3rd Friday. I mean, this is
can't
crazy.
Have that.
No.
You just had, so my sister, Michelle Garrick, is a guidance counselor at Millville High School. They had the Powerpuff game. This is less than a month ago.
Yes.
And where the girls dress up as football. They play football out there. And it's a fundraiser. It's a fun event.
Yep.
The boys act like cheerleaders. And it's a great event. Well, a huge fight breaks out, and a knife ends up. Well, after that event, a restaurant over here on
they blew out the windows.
Yes.
Yeah, right. High and
over that game. This gun
was.
violence needs to stop.
Yeah.
And this is why I said earlier that.
Why do you think downtown Millville's only got 40% occupancy?
Because people are scared. It's dangerous.
My friends own the dry cleaners, Frank's Dry Cleaners, and she said to me, now they're out of business now, they retired. She said, Jim, I'm so scared. I lock my door to my dry cleaners. People who want to get dry cleaning have to come around to the drive-through and hand me the stuff because I can't have the store open. When my bookkeeper's in the building, we lock the building. The people downtown lock the stores. What does that tell you? This is crazy.
It is.
It really is. And I mean, it's scary. And we just talked about, 3rd Friday, 2 months ago, this young man got killed. And like you said, that after that flag football girl powder puff, windows got shot out at the Soul.
The Soul Food. It's great. during my campaign, I had dinner in there one night, and in my head I was thinking, what if I was sitting in front of that window? What if that was one of those campaign nights? I'm sitting there and having dinner, you know?
Yeah. Well,
it's scary.
And the other thing the cops all know, drugs, right across from St. Mary's Church, there's right behind that place too, there's the drug haven. And
That's the church over behind us over here? Oh, over here at St. Mary's. I know where it is.
Well,
I
it's
know where
right, it's right behind the Soul.
Yes,
place
I know
where
exactly
you
what you're
were.
talking about.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. To me,
Here's what I don't understand. This is the thing that always got me. I am surprised that police officers don't back stronger gun laws, because they're the ones that are on the front lines here.
Yeah.
You know, I tell my son, I respect police officers like no other, because without them, I don't know it would be chaos.
It sure would be.
But I'm just surprised that they are not more, opponents to have more stricter gun laws.
Well, I still come back. I mean, I love a lot of my.
And I'm a gun
Republicans.
owner. I own handguns.
I don't at all. But John,
But you want to know why I got my handgun? Unfortunately,
because you're scared.
no, I'm going to tell you why. I bought my handgun, and I haven't had my handgun probably out in a long time. Don't know that, because if you come to my house, I can take it out quickly. But I bought it when I owned Parkside Laundromat on,
that's right. You did
on
tell me
East
that.
Main
Yeah,
Street.
right.
And it was the first time. I had never thought that I would own a gun.
Yeah.
I had never shot a gun in my life. I was 30 years old. I went out and purchased a handgun. And it's nothing big. It's a little revolver. It's easy. You pull the trigger. But I got it because Serafina's was our restaurant next door was robbed one night.
Yeah.
And I'm right next door, and I was dealing with money, and I would put the gun on my holster when at the end of the night when I was cleaning it and cleaning up my laundromat.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. I'm gonna toot your horn a little bit here. Millville was in a great place when you were mayor.
Yeah, we
This
did good success.
First Fridays, I mean, the art district, Wheaton Village, everything, everyone was talking about Millville.
When I started, we had about 50% occupancy downtown. When I ended up, we had 95%. But again, the arts district helped, get people in, and that we had 14 pioneer artists, and that wasn't just me. It was the Kim Ayers, Don Ayers, Johnny Newt, the people that really stepped up and knew what they were doing.
But you were the leader at the time, and
it was fun to do.
And I'm going to tell you what, I feel like the residual effect of that was Vineland. Vineland saw what you guys were doing, and that's when you started seeing people taking a lot of UEZ money and fixing up all the storefronts in Vineland. Yeah. So I felt like that was all from that same time.
Yeah,
so
when we shared the UEZ program.
Whatever you did and whatever you were doing, I'm sure the new administration over there wants to listen.
Well,
and that's a good part about them communicating.
Yeah, I think the world of Mayor Finucci and John.
Finucci was my basketball coach when I was.
Kidding.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I played basketball when I was in middle school, and we laugh about that now. I said, tell him that's why I'm so bad.
What a good guy.
Yeah.
And Paul Spinelli. I mean, just
Paul's a great guy.
Really good.
They got
people.
a tough thing going over there with that data center right now.
I know they do. I know. I see.
People keep asking. Yeah. People keep asking us to get involved. It's a private business, and I do think that that private business needs to have some kind of town hall meeting, because the worst part that's happening right now, there's a lot of rumors going on.
Yeah.
Because I heard those rumors, and listen, I'm a Vineland resident. I don't live too far from there, maybe 5-6 miles away. And I have a well, and if this is going to affect my water, it's scared the heck out of me.
Sure
I don't want this to affect my drinking water and affect what my family's dealing with. So, and I brought this up to a couple people, and a couple of the things that I heard were rumors and they weren't true. And I told them, I said, well, then you need to get out and talk to the people, because not talking to the people is the rumors are going to get worse. Because that last meeting on December 23rd, I went to go support Carlos Mercado. He's retiring from the fire department. He went on a retirement tour. I think he had about 10 parties.
Oh my God, you did a super job. The one I went to.
They had a roast
for him.
Yeah, if you ever see that roast on, by the way, if you see that roast online, that wasn't me. That was my twin brother.
Yeah, sure, I hear you. We actually televised it, so go to Quinn Broadcasting.
Yeah, really.
Channel.
It was fun. I had never roasted anybody before, and if you ever seen a roast on Comedy Central, I watched a couple of those, and I was like, I'm going at him, going hard. But he used it as a fundraiser. That was if you're ever having a retirement party, get roasted and do a fundraiser with it. It was a lot of fun.
What a great guy.
But I went there to support Carlos because the city was honoring him, and I get there, and There was 500 people, if not
Oh, and
more.
Paul-
It was. I don't even know
Yeah.
if they were letting people in.
Paul
but it was
Spinelli
packed.
told me he had to gavel the thing, throw people out,
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. He's council president.
And actually, the person that got thrown out, I feel like his heart's in the right place, and he's a young man. He's getting involved in politics, and you have to be careful because you don't know what. You do need to hold people accountable, and he's doing a good job of that. But you have to be careful the way you're doing it. And I hope we can give people some guidance and do it the right way. You can do it, but you got to do it the right way.
And
You got to
it's-
have respect for
It's
people.
interesting. In fact, I had 22 acres of land under contract, and the guy was going to build the same thing, data center,
Mm-hmm.
computer data center. But with where I was in Upper Deerfield Township, Atlantic Electric couldn't provide him with the electric.
Yeah.
So that went by the wayside.
Yeah.
And now what John Ruga's doing is phenomenal in size, millions of square feet, all this
man,
kind of
it's-
stuff. But the problems that come with it, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, as someone who would love to see the economic development factor of it, that's wonderful. But if
Yeah.
I lived a mile or two from it,
And
I'd
that's one
feel
of the things, the
differently,
economic development, and that's one of the things that question hasn't been answered yet. How is it going to help our community?
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't know that
Well,
answer yet.
jobs,
I hope
for
it does.
sure, yeah.
But there isn't that many jobs that, and again, these are rumors. So I hope that they do
Yeah.
find
You
the
know,
time to
in
talk
fact,
to everybody.
Paul's coming on next week with me, so maybe we'll spend the show talking about those aspects to
Okay, good.
get some clarity. And
Tell
things
him I
like
don't
that.
envy him right now.
No, I know.
He's a good
Yeah,
guy, Paul. He really is.
Yeah, it's funny. Growing up, I grew where Walmart is in Millville. That was my father's land.
Oh, wow.
25 acres of land. It's a funny story with that too.
That's how we got this huge $1 million facility, this studio over here, from the sale of that property.
Well, he did well. He bought a house and all. This was cute. My father, the house I grew up in, was his grandpop's house. That his dad's house where he lived, and then he inherited it from his dad. So my sister and myself, my mother, and he lived there. And a developer that wanted to develop Walmart came to see him. And my dad goes, "No way, I'm not selling this place, blah, 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 blah. It's my family, blah, 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 blah." And he finally said to the guy, "Could I at least come in and sit down at the table and make you an offer?" All right. So he comes in and he pulls out an offer sheet of $500,000. My mother's name is Betty. He goes, "Betty, pack the bags, we're out of here." How money talks and nobody walks.
That's right. That's
That
right.
was,
No, money talks and everybody walks
yeah,
in that situation.
that's the case.
What year was that?
Oh gosh, 89.
Yeah,
somewhere.
pretty good money in those
Because
days.
he ended up buying the house I had, and then you moved to Union Lake. So
Yeah.
it was right around 90, I guess, something like that. But again, that was good for the community. Brought in the ratables, and then when I was mayor, we were able to bring in Union Lake Crossing Shopping Center, which is rocking and rolling, doing phenomenal.
I'll tell you what, man. That place during the Christmas season, I went to the mall. It's a shame that I'll tell you this though, the Cumberland Mall is doing hand over, whatever the saying is, a lot better than the Hamilton Mall. I
I
could
know,
not
isn't that
believe
amazing? Yeah, it's true.
It
Yeah.
looked like a ghost town
Yeah,
over there. So
I
at
know.
least we have,
Yeah.
and
Some
hopefully we
stores.
can
Yeah.
get some more stores over there
Yeah.
and maybe steal a couple of the stores that are left over at the Hamilton Mall, talk them into coming over here, Cumberland. Maybe the Macy's will
Yeah,
come over
that would
here.
be good. Yeah,
I'd
that'd
like
be
to have a
nice.
Macy's, but it's a shame because everybody's shopping online right now. It's a
Yeah, that's
different
true,
world.
too.
But
Right.
this Millville Shopping Center was
Yeah.
kicking butt over there.
It really has been. It's been doing very well. And before we wrap up, one of the things that you get.
Wrap up. I thought this was an hour. I thought
It
we
is.
were going to be. That was an hour already. My
So-
goodness.
I'm telling you, we could do two. I'm sure.
Yep.
What happened was I took a lot of flack. In fact, it actually ended up costing me being the mayor. I'm the only person in the city of Millville's history to win 3 terms as the mayor because it's a screwed up form of government. Commission form of government is crazy. But anyway, I brought in the New Jersey Motorsports Park.
Yep.
And right after I did that, and neighbors heard the noise and they were mad at me. So I finished second and I didn't keep the mayorship. But we had to give an abatement, which you have to give in order to get the businesses
Right.
in because everybody else.
How
is up
long
for
was
the
it at
abatement.
that time?
It probably was a long time.
Was
Let's
it?
see, they started in what, 2008? I think it went maybe 15 years.
That's not that long.
20 years. But here's the good news, John. It's over. the
Yeah.
abatement, so maybe it was 15. It was 2008. This is 25, so maybe 15. But what happened was they put in these exotic car garages. My God, they've got 70 at
Wow.
$380,000 each. No kids in school, no crime.
Wow.
They take care of their trash. They take care of security, the whole thing.
And those are not making any noise. Those cars that are in those garages.
Right, yeah, 200
bringing in revenue.
Was it? What did Google tell me last night? $28 million in revenue, and they're still building.
That's
It's
awesome.
wonderful.
Good,
So, I
great.
mean, there's
That's
a great
awesome.
rateable for the city of Millville with no demands
Yeah.
at all on him at all.
That's awesome.
Buddy, it's good to see you. You
Oh,
got to
man.
come back.
And
I
I'll be
enjoyed
back
it.
anytime. This
God
is
bless
fun.
you. Yeah.
Weekly, every Wednesday? I'll
Hey,
be here.
anytime you
I'll be
want,
here.
buddy.
Thank you.
great.
Thank you for talking with
Thank
me.
you, John. You're a good man.
Yep.
And folks, I'm proud
Not as
of
good
you.
as you, though.
No, he's great, and it's just a wonderful person, and he's going to represent you well. I assure you that. And Mrs. Malicki, his running mate, she'll be very good. And of course, there's good people on the county commission board too. Bob Ostino and Sandy Taylor and Art Marchand and Jimmy Sorrow, and Tony Romero.
Mm-hmm.
They're the 7 people that are there to serve you. And I'm sure if you get a chance, tune in and watch the meetings. They're live every second and fourth Tuesday of each month. They come to you live. But for Johnny Capizola, I'm Jim Quinn. I want to thank George Kachia and this new handsome guy we got, Trevor Jennings, is in with George tonight. And Trevor comes from one of the nicest families you'll ever find in the city of Millville. He's my newest tech, and I'm happy to have him with us too. Thanks for joining us, folks. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks again.
My God, that.
This has been a QBC television production, in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22, and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.